Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Give Back. I'm your host, Adam Ignotofsky, the CEO and founder of Humbler.co. We call ourselves a ticket marketplace with heart. Find amazing events that give back, like helpNYC's Drag Bingo coming up. You can check them out on the platform. And we got two amazing members of Help NYC. We got Peachez, board member of NYC. We also have Charlotte, the co-founder of NYC. We also have Josh secretly in the comments here. He's the other co-founder, so he's lurking amongst us. He might have a post or two, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah. So I think what we'll start here is Charlotte. You know, as the co-founder, how about you tell us what Help NYC is all about?
Yeah. So Help NYC has been a personal love and passion project for me for about the last year, 18 months. For Josh, he started this about 4 years ago. It's a community initiative that aims to help increase accessibility to resources for our New York neighbors in need by lowering as many barriers as we can and just increasing visibility to resources. So we do this primarily in our Navigator resource, which lists resources that we personally verify, because sometimes it's as simple as that the address is wrong or the hours are wrong, and we found that was an easy way that we could help. But we also help partner with organizations to promote them. We work on voter initiative to do voter education, and more recently through COVID, we've done a lot of food security support through FACNY, which is a side organization project we started, Food Assistance Collective of New York, where food assistance providers come together to talk and brainstorm creative solutions. So we're, kind of figuring it out as we go, but just trying to support our neighbors in the best way we can.
That's fantastic. And Peachez, how did you get started with this as well as a board member?
I was originally connected in through my drag mother, Marty Cummings, who is a huge staple in the New York nightlife scene, but also in the activism scene. They are currently running for city council in District 7, but outside of that, they have started multiple mutual aids throughout the pandemic. They are always boots on the ground involving anything that needs attention. All the BLM protests last summer, anything involving the AAPI and attacks against our Asian siblings, literally anything from that to homelessness to anything involving New York City and giving back. They connected me in with Josh and with Charlotte, and I actually started off originally just doing a fundraiser for them, and I think Josh and Charlotte both heard my passion that was passed down from my mother, and we talked a little bit, and they were like, if you're interested, we're still building our board. And next thing I knew, I was sitting on the board of a nonprofit.
So, just to dig a little deeper into that, when you talk about your past and what fuels you today, can you talk a little bit about, what is that exactly that inspired you to really be out in the community?
I'll take it first. I am a Black, queer, non-binary human being trying to survive in the world and in New York City and in the art scene. And I think that in itself has been such a battle. And I am lucky enough to have had a really privileged upbringing and a privileged life, and I've had it easy through a lot of things, and being able to keep my job through the pandemic and everything. And I think specifically in the pandemic, I found that there are just so many people that need help and that don't even know how to get the help. And then on top of it, even when there is the opportunity presented, the bureaucracy and the red tape and the way to even get the help that you need is so convoluted. And specifically in New York, you have to go jump through 1,000 hoops to get one step forward. And I think that was something that drew me to Help NYC. And then just in general, being a drag queen, I have one of my top things that I say is that drag was and always will be political, and it always is a form of protest. And so I am doing my best to make sure that my drag is something that has a purpose and is, one, yes, my art and is my way of expressing myself creatively, but is also something that gives us an opportunity to help our community and to engage our community and to have these discussions. And I think that Help NYC and myself were able to like marry that really well early on in our relationship.
And Charlotte, when we talk about that, integration of different communities, how has Help NYC helped enable that? As you heard Peaches just beautifully tap on.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything more eloquent than what Peaches just said, but I think when I was moving to New York, I was an aspiring social worker, and I had the very naive belief that there were gaps in resources, and that was the problem, that there just weren't the resources for the people in need. And then when I started working in the field, I realized that wasn't the problem at all. It was more that none of those resources communicate with each other, primarily because of the way funding in New York works, and that needed to be the first step, because we have no idea really what's out there. There's so many resources, and just so rarely are the people that would be most benefiting from those resources linked with them. And so I think that's the best way that Help NYC can help all of the various incredible communities around New York, by just getting them to where they need to go, and really just trying to reinstill dignity into the process. Because a phrase that we use a lot, that's kind of coming into the social service scene, is low barrier resources. It's a phrase that a lot of nonprofits use, but it doesn't really have a strict definition, and so people don't really know what it means. But it should mean that there's as few barriers to entry as possible, and so rarely is that actually reflected, and so people get turned away for arbitrary reasons. So we hope through this advocacy to really stand up for those neighbors in need, to show that we know how important each interaction along the way is, and how much that matters, especially when you need help, and it's out there.
So if you're someone who needs help, what are some of the ways that you're removing those barriers?
Well, so first, it could be as simple as just going to the site and there are tons of resource listings out there. But oftentimes they're an ad hoc service that an organization that has much bigger programs they're working on has, and they don't have a team directly focusing on making sure they're accurate. So through Help NYC, you can go, and at any time the resource that's listed is accurate. You can trust that if you go there at the times that are listed, at the address that's listed, you will get the help that is described. And if you don't have that experience, then we welcome anyone to reach out to us directly. Josh and I, and honestly the rest of our board, we're very lucky to have passionate, incredible people on our team. So anyone is ready at all times to help assist get you there. But we also are just constantly working on increasing our partnerships so that we can help streamline the situation, so there aren't so many middlemen and so many confusing roadblocks.
That's helpful. And Charlotte touched on this, Peaches. She touched upon some of the misconceptions that she might have had before she really got immersed into the community and understood what the root cause was. Do you see that there's some misconceptions in your community that you might want to touch on here today that you would like to let people know about and kind of demyth it?
I mean, I think that's hard to answer. I think the biggest myth is that there is shame in asking for help, and that once you hit a roadblock, then that's the time to give up. I think the biggest thing that Charlotte said that I think we carry through this organization, and that all of us should be carrying through, is helping people maintain their dignity through all of this. And I am definitely guilty of it, and I think anybody that gets to a point where they need to ask for help, they are struck with this point of trying to maintain their pride and trying to hold on to not being embarrassed by asking for help. And I think that's a big part of what Help NYC is aiming to do and is able to do, is say, throw all of that away. We get it. All of us that are on the board have struggled in one way or another. All of us get it, and we are here to remove that and to make sure that you can still hold your head high and say, yes, I needed help, but after I asked for help, I'm going to be able to stand up and continue to move forward and take any assistance and use that as a springboard versus as a lot of elitists like to call it, a handout. I think what we are doing is turning that into a springboard and saying, hey, there's constantly a way for you to take the assistance, take Help NYC's guidance, and turn that into a full change in your life and a full change in what you're trying to do.
That's did you have something to add, Charlotte?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I could add on to that as well, just to take this moment to point out something that Peachez brought up, which is that we do try and create just a totally peer-run organization. So everyone on our board does have experience in one way or another. And since we want to help as many New Yorkers as we can be seen, it really is across the board of people who've experienced mental illness or poverty or struggles with housing, so that we can really reflect that we understand what they're going through. And it also makes us better able to really see the holes in the help and where, that really can play in negatively affecting people getting it.
And I would also like to just throw in, I think a misconception that I would like to speak on is the idea that you need to be homeless or addicted to drugs or, sorry, not homeless, but experiencing homelessness, addicted to something in some way, struggling with addiction, struggling with what we consider these typical high risk, high need places. I think that is a lot of where the dignity aspect of it comes in and the pride aspect. And I think if you are experiencing issues with mental health, or if you are experiencing issues with paying a hospital bill from an emergency that you experience, I think that is also a place where Help NYC can step in and say there is a resource for middle income people, for people that are not quite hitting a barrier. There are so many things inside of the city and so many resources inside of the city for everybody, from people experiencing homelessness up to people that are just having trouble meeting ends meet. And I think that's a misconception that we can all just throw out the door and say, if you need help, ask for help. And if the answer is no in one place, we might be able to find another door that is 100% a yes, and something that will ease your life a little bit. And especially as we come out of the pandemic and start to try and resume, hopefully not normalcy, because I absolutely want nothing to do with what the world was before. And but I do want to say, as we re-enter the world, that hopefully people that struggled through the pandemic are able to say, hey, I may not have been evicted. I may not have had to wait in line at food in a food line, but I do need help. And I think this is an opportunity for Help NYC to step in and say, hey, we can guide you that way. We may not be able to provide it ourselves specifically, but we will be able to show you where you can get that help.
That's wonderful. A lead with empathy approach, a community approach, I think, is what the pandemic, oddly enough, with the isolation, has given us, almost that sense of community, that everyone could be on that verge of, I am going to experience homelessness, or I have food insecurity. Anyone could hit that plateau. But when we take a step back, and for those who are fortunate enough to be in a situation where they might not need to ask for help, and that they could provide help, what are some ways we could give back to Help NYC?
Yeah, so there's tons of ways. I mean, the best way is just for boots on the ground work. So we're always looking for more people to get involved with us personally. If you want to reach out, you can throw me an email, or one at helpnyc.com, I believe is a...
Or a .co. You're a .co as well, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so you can reach out if you want to be part. We're building a development team to now work on creating a really strong foundation so that we can start scaling our work. But other ways are, we have an upcoming fundraiser, which Peachez will be starring in. And it'll be bingo. It'll be really fun. So you can find the link to order tickets at our Instagram, which is We Help NYC, or through either of our websites, so helpnyc.co or helpnyc.info, which is where our navigator site is. But yeah, or just throwing direct donations through helpnyc.co. Anything helps, and so we'd love any involvement. But also just keep an eye on what we're doing. Keep an eye on the Instagram, and any event that comes up that you want to be involved in, never hesitate.
And we are also something that we just spoke about recently is the creation of giving circles. It's kind of a new concept that I don't think everybody's super familiar with, but it's essentially a chance for you to get together with your friends, with your extended circle, and say, hey, I think my money could go a lot further if me and 25 of my friends all agree every month we're going to give $10. We're going to say 2 of the cups of coffee that I was going to have this month, I'm going to actually donate that money towards a cause. So I believe Josh, the other co-founder, has set up a giving circle already. I'm getting ready to set up one. And it's something so simple. I am part of a giving circle already in support of Black trans lives. And it is something that I literally don't even notice that it leaves my bank account. It's $25 a month, but inside of that giving circle, there are, I think, about 70 of us already. And so when you have that many people, all of a sudden what is $25 for you turns into $2,000 that are going to these grassroots boots on the ground organizations that are really looking to grow and aren't necessarily set up to get grants and funding from the federal level. So I think the giving circle is going to be a huge thing for us, and is a really great chance for anybody to just get involved and say, hey, I am happy to give $10 a month, and really support an organization that is, we are the smallest, cutest little sprout right now, and we're going to be a huge oak tree in just a few months. So that's a huge opportunity.
That's a really good note. And Charlie, did you have something to add? Did I cut you off?
Oh, no. I think giving circles are great. And I guess just what Philip said too is that we are, starting out right now. So it's been in the process for 4 years, and now it's this incredible thing, but we're small and we're looking for new avenues to go down. So it's really an exciting time of growth, and we just appreciate any support.
Fantastic. And, as we begin to teeter off this interview, sadly enough, Peachez, how about you give a little, shout out to the fundraiser coming up. Let people know what it's all about. What is drag bingo? Maybe it's self-explanatory for some, but maybe not for everyone.
Well, listen, a lot of you got on here thinking you were going to see a drag queen, and I purposely didn't get in drag because I wanted to entice you all to come and join us for our drag bingo. It is a night of pure craziness. It's free entry, and then it is very cheap to buy tickets. Once you get a ticket, we control everything digitally on our side, and you'll be able to play along digitally. You can also print out your tickets. I've got a handy dandy bingo cage that I keep on me at all times, and it's your classic bingo. And outside of the classic bingo, I'll also be giving performances. I will be telling ridiculous jokes, because at the end of the day, I'm also still a drag queen and still just a kooky woman, non-binary, crazy entity. It's just a lot of fun, and it's a really great way to just engage with your community and with like-minded people and people that care about making change in New York City.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it here. Get your tickets today. A little self-plug on humbler.co. If you haven't already, we are proud sponsors of the event. We want everyone to show up and show out if they can, because that's ideal. So This has been, yes, absolutely. So this has been another great episode of The Give Back. Thank you guys so much for your time today. And
here you go.
Sorry, no, go ahead, Charlotte.
I was just gonna say thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Of course, and have a great night. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll be back at this maybe in a year doing another interview to see where you've come. Right?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's the key.
Sounds great. See you then.
Absolutely. Bye. Have a good one.